So in this video, we will be discussing what I'll be wearing to the high holiday services and the socially expected decorum of attending these very holy time, perhaps the holiest time for the Jewish people, which starts with Rosh Hashanah, ends with the holy day of the holiest day of the Jewish year, being Yom Kippur. Even though some of the rabbis say that the holiest day is actually Shabbat, it has become agreed upon throughout rabbinic literature that the established holiest day is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. This past month started here. This past month of the Hebrew calendar is the month of Elul, leading into the first of Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah, which is in turn the first month of the Jewish year. The holiest time for Jews is between Rosh Hashanah being the new Jewish New Year and Yom Kippur being the Day of Atonement. Therefore, in this video, I am therefore going to discuss the decorum of which how a person should conduct themselves during this time of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, where even Jews that are not religious go to some sort of service to observe these things. As somebody that was raised conservative and became Orthodox at 27 years old, modern Orthodox, the observance of these days is very important to me, which is why I'm doing a video on how I'm going to dress to synagogue. If you're attending during the high holy days, and when I say high holy days, it's a catch-all term for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So if you're attending the high holy days, if you are attending the high holy days at a non-Orthodox service, which is defined by a service that is intended for secular Jewish people, either conservative or reform, or Reconstructionist, or some people that just consider themselves secular, this is how that service would be. Because I know that particularly in the autistic community, we have a lot of anxiety going into a lot of environments because we don't necessarily know what that environment is, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, how people are supposed to conduct themselves around us. So that's what this part of the video I'm going to touch on. But, okay. So at a non-Orthodox service, it's pretty straightforward. It's very liberal. Exactly how liberal, how much Hebrew versus English in the service, that's a more complicated question that I won't be dealing with in this video. And that's also a question on prayer structure, which I also won't be handling in this video very much. So here's the if you although if you have questions about the prayers, I recommend you to last year's video that I will um, put in the description. And me or Margot will put in the description uh, for you, so that way you could get a sense of High Holy Day prayers and how they're conducted. Now, there's no mohita. That's a separation between men and women. Um, at these services because it's not an Orthodox service. They're also universally now, this wasn't true when I was a kid, but by this point, most non-Orthodox services, if not all, nearly all, are co-ed. So men and women sit together, and they also share in the duties of running the administration of the whole ordeal. Um, of services. You know, I would argue, as an Orthodox Jew, generally speaking, that this no longer represents the way I view the Torah, but the idea is essentially, but understand that you would be walking into um, a more open environment, and some people like that. As far as how you're supposed to conduct yourself personally, it's whatever works for you. Um, Generally speaking, it is still advised no phones, no electricity. But since COVID, more and more synagogues that are non-Orthodox will allow it, especially for access reasons. So the services that I go to, that I personally attend, is Orthodox. I consider myself now, since my stay in Israel, as a modern Orthodox Jew. Uh, that's how I identify. So, as far as my High Holy Day experience, those are the services I would be attending. Now, this is true of most institutions, Orthodox and non-Orthodox. There's usually a ticket that those who to attend these services have to get, and it doesn't matter the denomination. Um, Usually, um, that's how it is in North America. In Israel, um, you don't have to have a ticket because the synagogues are partly government funded. Um, so basically, I'll be going to Orthodox services. So there'll be a mohitza separating men and women. and I'll be conducting myself um, in those gender terms. I know that there are more liberal services, but I interpret the Torah literally. So those more liberal services don't really speak to my spirituality. So so I became Orthodox. I don't think anybody who becomes religious, of any faith for that matter, will tell you that the decision to become religious is an easy path to take, especially since in my case, I'm LGBT and disabled on top of which. But that's what I did. And I have no regrets on the subject. So, for people who are trans or LGBT in general, going to a house of worship throughout our history hasn't always gone very. This would make for an interesting video later on, but for the purposes of this video, it's not really about that primarily. What I will say is this. I have to, in order for me to go to an Orthodox service, I have to dress androgynously because I'm a biological male and I mean no harm to anyone. If I were to present as a woman, that wouldn't make me a woman. That would make me somebody who's infringing on a female space. Even though I would be well meaning in that endeavor, that still isn't fair to the women that I'm sitting with. I personally see being trans as a mental illness. So, by that logic, I am still male. You can't change your sex, but you can change how you present to make it more in accordance with the way you see yourself, which is what the logic of trans is, at least as I understand it. Um, with that being the case, to me, the best way for me to go to an Orthodox service is to sit with the men. Also, because the fact that Judaism is a religion that is heavily reliant on gender roles. Uh, that's how it is. Uh, if you look at books like the Shulchan, it's a gendered book. That's the essential book of Jewish law that governs a lot of different things. I don't have time to review the Shulchan in this video, but in that book, Rabbi Joseph Caro outlines what Jewish law actually is, including relations between the sexes. And as somebody that believes the Torah is literal, I am not able to justify the fact I cannot say with certainty that I was born a woman. Uh, because that would be a lie. So, for that reason, there would be no place for me to sit if I were to show up to an Orthodox synagogue in a dress, which I have done, and it hasn't really gone very well in those times. Uh, so that's why I dress androgynously um, to synagogue. So, okay, this is my shirt. Uh, this is the shirt I'll be wearing to the High Holy Days. Um, and these are my pants. And these are my shoes. So technically, on the High Holy Days, you're supposed to wear white, particularly on Yom Kippur, because the custom is on Yom Kippur, particularly, you were supposed to wear white because it's like the day of your funeral. Because part of death and dying, the ritual for death and dying, is your atonement. And Yom Kippur is the day of atonement. So, how was that?
It's good. So,
Okay,
um,
what's next?
next thing you put in here is religious and accessibility concerns.
Yeah, so as far as what I'm going to wear, it's also contingent upon accessibility. These two things here are more accessible than me wearing uh, a women's button down and women's pants. Um, it's not accessible. I haven't spoken about it on this channel, but I basically need to wear um, elastic waisted clothing. I have a lot of fine motor problems. So, yeah, I can't do that. And I'm also spastic. So, for that reason, I have to dress the way I do. Um, So that's why I can't do that. And because I'm trans, I can't wear the usual short and tap. Because my gender dysphoria won't allow it. So, considering all those realities, this is how I have to dress. All right. So, the first thing that I'm going to be wearing is my titsis. Uh, the four fringes. Um, I wear that to my, I wear this every day, but since I'm showing it to you today in this video, because of the fact that I only have one pair of TC, I figured, given the nature of the video, I would show this one to you. So this one goes to is for men that are unmarried, including children. So, okay, that's one. Now, so as per Ashkenazi Eastern European Jewish custom, we therefore have the full talit. That I'll be wearing. So the Eastern European Jewish custom is I don't wear a full tallis until I'm married. But because I was raised conservative, I prefer wearing a full tallis if everybody else I'm praying with is. So I typically wear a full tallis even though I don't technically have to as a matter of custom. And because these fringes work just fine. So now we can talk about and then you wouldn't start wearing a full tallis until you're married. But as I said, I do something a little bit different. The Sephardic custom is what I follow, even though I'm not Sephardic. Um, which is that from the time of bar mitzvah, you wear the full tallis, period. Okay. So now it's time for me to show what I'm wearing. So, because it's traditional to wear white, this is going to be the yarmulke I wear during the services. Um, it's Boharian, so big, artistic. That's what a lot of people like. Um, there are different types of yarmulkes. That's a whole different discussion. But in my case, I like Baharian yarmulkes from the city of Bahara, um, in Uzbekistan that became popular among Ashkenazi Jews during the Hippie. So this is what I'm gonna wear. This is what I wear when I go to services. This is what I wear. And then now, and as you can see, it's white. So this is a tallis. This is a prayer shawl. It's a standard prayer shawl. There's really nothing to it. But this one is the one that I wear on the high holidays because it's white. Uh, so then it comes in this case. Now, sometimes when you get these cases, some taluses come in cases, some don't. Most of them do. So it goes in this case. Uh, uh, so now let's talk about the talus here. Let's talk about that. Uh, this talus, you can buy a talus at any Judaica store, technically. However, this one has an interesting history. My grandfather bought this talus when he was during a stay in Jerusalem at some point. When he bought it, I inherited it after his death. When at the time I was thinking about getting a talus for the High Holy Days, particularly. A lot of people, and that's not unusual because a lot of people have a talus for the high holidays. Uh, a lot of men do have a talus for that and a talus for weekdays. Uh, and on the high holidays, like on festivals, you don't wear any other garb. You don't wear tefillin because it's so holy. It's not necessary. So another thing I'm going to be wearing as a part of my high holy day outfit is my sunglasses, which unless I'm in my house, I wear indoors to help me with the fact that I'm light sensitive and blind. So this is another thing I wanted to show as well. In the Jewish year, there is no time, there is no greater time when God reveals himself to us. Like the time of year of the holiday season. starting with Rosh Hashanah and ultimately ending with Shema Torah, but with the holiest part being the beginning part between Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, and the end of Yom Kippur. I challenge you to discuss how are you going to do better this year, and to consider where you fell short last year. Bob Dylan once discussed the idea that we're all in a state of becoming. That's true of this time of year for Jewish people. We understand that we are only the greatest version of ourselves when we focus on being better people. That's what this is all about. So may this be a sweet new year for all of us, but also a new year of blessing as we understand that the light of God has not shown itself yet to us, but will as we understand that there is no way of getting around the fact that we can be better. We can strive to be better. To all those people watching my channel, I encourage you to write in the comments below ways that you would like to do better this year so we can all learn from everyone, learn from the community how we can be better people, because that's what we're doing here. That's what the High Holy Days are about, being better than who you were a year ago. Self growth is a great thing, but can we channel it into something positive or not? That is what this is about. So, with that, I would like to end by saying Happy New Year, Shana Tova. New 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 happy new I can new can you can you knew, Avira knew, no, no, you, no, new, okay, new, 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 okay, no, new. No, no, I knew, no, I knew, calling you, you I knew, I can